USVR was 10 times more efficient than previous sorbents. After the passing of the USVR loading separators, the purification step exists up to 0.03, which means that it is reduced by a few thousand times. In a certified laboratory of water analysis, we were simply not believed. They said this could not be done. They were only convinced after the results showed up. Well, it's natural, because no one ever in the world has done it. St. Petersburg officials have only recently been interested in the new method, although the problem of water pollution in the city is very serious. First, the question is resolved in that way that today our filters will be installed along with the separator into ships that can clean all by themselves, everything, and throw back into the sea drinkable water. This is demonstrated here. Big tests were made, and the manager of the boats has invited an important delegation to demonstrate its effectiveness. The most important thing is that there is a limit to its absorption. It's called saturated forest. You can't take an absorbent that weighs 10 tons on a ship. You will use all the available space, and this problem is solved by getting a concentrate without any other equipment.
И без какого бы то ни было оборудования запустить реакцию и получить, допустим, в час необходимое количество и 10, и 20 тонн, в зависимости от того, какое количество вы запустили реакцию. Я хочу только...
I would just like to acknowledge, here is deep science. Here we see how it looks like dough is rising. The secret of all this, the rupture of between-Tamarny ties, without the application of any energy. We saw a bucket of graphite. We have seen an ongoing process. Depending on the modifications which I run, if this is changed in the sorbent, this is 400, 500 times. If this is changed in the operating time of nanotubes, carbon nanostructures are at 600, 700 times. Each illusionist relies on assistance. This role has been taken by the NTV correspondent. Not resisting, decided to take part in the experiment. Now we pour this horrible mix into the container. We see a huge ecological catastrophe. And then the unique Russian technology begins to work. The nanocarbon filter turns this liquid into drinking water. There is the water, which I can drink and enjoy life. Cheers! Try the water first and then thank me. No, smell. Tasty? It's really tasty water. The water isn't only good, but amazingly clean. We are the first here today to witness the real industrial application of nanotechnology. How often do we say nanotechnology will change the future? Where is it? Did we see it before? Now we see the technology. It is demanded by every living person in the world. From Kuwait, they brought this horrible sand with oil. We mixed this sand with our USVR and we got clean water. I took it and drank it, and everyone took 2 steps back in horror. I handed the glass to the sheikh. The sheikh smelled the water and handed it to his minister of water and said, "Try it." The minister smelled it and handed it back to the sheikh. The sheikh looked at it and then drank it. In 2 days, he fired him. At this time, a very important person is tasting the water. Dr. Helmut Krunas, former minister of the Armed Forces of Austria. He now heads the National Research Center.
Ich trinke auch. Wir sind tapfere Leute.
Weiß nicht, hat keine Rückflucht.
Clean water. The name of a new national project which is spoken about at the Congress Party United Russia, Boris Gryzlov. The first participant in the project was the governor of Novgorod, Mikhail Prusik. He installed water purification systems at schools and hospitals. Another 500 sites are waiting for their turn. Some of our scientists have invented new technologies and protect them with patents. These are real discoveries which make the way for new elements, such as nanocarbons. This is a sorbent of the highest quality to filter water in both industrial and household quantities. And here in Vsevolozhsk area will be a pilot project. I hope that in the spring of next year we will be able to invite specialists here from all over the country to show how to clean water and what water our citizens can drink. Nanocarbon materials have other amazing properties and applications. Victor Petrik established technology that has already been introduced in several American universities. The technology of running industrial nanocarbon pipes, a feat which the world has yet to see. It is exactly these nanotubes which are the object that holds the very future that will change the face of civilization. Its strength characteristics are such that if we make a nanotube rope, it will be able to lift a passenger from the Earth to the Moon. This is where the idea of space elevators come from. This phenomenon in America called this tube top model. The world saw it for the first time with open ends. These materials are obtained from the sorbent. For the first time in the world were obtained branching nanotubes. These are ready transistors for radio electronics. For the first time in the world, nanocarbon rings were obtained. These are nanofractals. For some reason you see it in the shape of crosses. This is how the nano world looks. The small town of Vsevolozhsk, where Victor Petrik lives and works, has become a kind of mecca for all those who need to solve a scientific or technical problem. They are waiting for a miracle, but Victor Petrik is no wizard, just a man with extraordinary intuition. In the universe in which Victor Petrik creates, all that exists is subject to harmony. Harmony of thoughts, feelings, sounds, and colors. The combination of a psychologist and artist creates amazing results. In this picture, each face of each person shows each specific form of the disease. The professional will always see Napoleon, the maker of destinies. Please note beside him is Aristotle, manic depressive, psychosis, a deep depression. But these are moments of leisure. Industrial tasks don't allow you to be distracted. Silicon, the main element in solar energy and computer technology. But how to get silicon in large quantities? Victor Petrik knows the answer to this question. There are two issues, energy and chlorine pollution, necessary for obtaining pure silicon. Victor agreed to both. Silicon is needed in many different fields of engineering, electronics, and solar space. I first created the technology of growing single crystal silicon directly from the gas phase. This is my first, which will be stored forever. This is my first monocrystal, which is obtained from the force of piles of raw material production of fertilizers. I saw the future in the following way. Now we know. Modern glass coated with nickel and cobalt that enable us to reduce the amount of heat coming into our buildings. Exactly in this way will glass be used. They will be covered with a layer of superfine silicon, and we will get electricity directly from this drain. Today's modern buildings are 80% glass. So here, from single crystals of silicon, which were at the lab setup and which passed the test today in the Joint Institute for Nuclear Research in Dubna. For the first time, detectors were received. They are absolutely unique. This monocrystal is very unique. At first, it caused extreme surprise. One layer is ideal. The second is absolutely not working. Here the installation. This is the first industrial plant. There will be crystals with a diameter up to 200 millimeters. And now I'm already creating an industrial machine for the first time in the world that gets silicone by means of the gas method.
Кремния газофазным методом. А главное, в этой
And most of this technology does not require the most environmentally dangerous part, which is called chlorination.
Все связано со всем.
Everything is connected
Все
with
влияет
everything.
на все.
Everything
Таков
affects
закон
everything.
универсума, позволяющий
That is the law of the
человеку
universe,
переходить
allowing
от
Victor
проблемы
Ivanovich to move from problem to problem as far as they are together.
Немногие знают, что
Not many
значительное
people
количество
know
редких
that a
металлов,
significant amount of rare
металлов
metals,
группы,
the
в которых
platinum group
нуждается
metals,
промышленность,
in which the industry needs,
добываются
is
не
not
из
extracted from the
месторождений,
fields,
а
but from the
извлекаются
waste
из
of
отходов
metallurgical
металлургического
production.
производства.
To date, the selection and separation of rare metals such as rhodium, osmium, gold, platinum, palladium is extremely labor-intensive. Consider, to single out, separate and purify these metals, the original raw materials must pass 96 stages of labor-expensive and environmentally harmful processes. Victor Petrik received extra metals in one step. This ore contains nearly the entire system of Mendeleev. It is produced in the world-renowned mill NaCl. Victor Petrik can extract from this ore platinum, osmium, and palladium.
Несколько лет назад на этой лабораторной...
A few years ago, at the lab setup in the presence of the commission, which was the General Director NaCl, Hagaziev, Director of the Institute of Forensic Sciences of Russia's FSB, Fizenka, Head of the Analytical Center of the FSB, Kharkov. Here, the concentrates from NaCl within a few minutes received 32 grams platinum and 18 grams of palladium. Iridium was obtained, as was osmium at the end. It took half an hour. Drawing, and we've created the documentation for future machines. But big global changes have taken place in NaCl. NaCl has changed much in their technology and forgot about me.
Многое менял в своих технологиях и обо мне забыли. На сегодняшний день
On this day, I believe that a very progressive man has returned to this technology, and we have established a memorandum of the world's first industrial plant for extraction and separation of platinum group metals, which in itself implies a new era of technology.
и разделению металлоплатиновой группы, которая
Further, as I have said along with nanopowders, there is also the possibility of different coatings, which were previously inaccessible with existing technologies.
возможности всеразличных покрытий, которые раньше были недоступны при существующих технологиях. Анатолий Владимирович Фисенко
Anatoly Fizenka very gloomily told me, "Professor, you have with this invention grossly violated the second law of the KGB." I got the chills even though I understood that this was a joke. I said, "And what is the second law of the KGB?" He said, "The second law of the KGB is, the more active the element, the less often it occurs in a free state."
активен элемент, тем реже он встречается в свободном состоянии. А потом он говорит, мы
And then he said, "We felt that in order to know all the features that you know, the vapor pressure, temperature, and so on, it would take a single institute 60 years of hard work. Where did you learn all this?" I was bursting with pride and said, "Yes, with this invention, I have defined science for the next 20 years." Alexander Ivanovich Lebed, with his roaring voice, said, "Another person also said that, and received as much." Here is the ore, which contains platinum group metals, and I let out my gas, which takes only...
Как это делается, не
How this is
очень
done
просто понять.
is not very easy to understand. Victor Petrik's results are such that people refuse to believe them. And then he shows samples of metals which are obtained from his method. The experiment was very clean. The fact that it needs to be split now has been done specifically. I would have given you with pleasure the whole so that you would take it to Spain, but you will not be allowed to do so. Here is a metal deposited into its pieces. We'll give you a very small amount for analysis to ensure that we do not have to draw up special documents. This is in one place. Here, I will now show you. There should be here large pieces of metal. Here they are. That's it. Let's close it. Professor, analyze and let us know the results. You received in your hands the result of very high technology. All your discoveries are invaluable to humanity and constitute a remarkable part of your scientific work which you are carrying out now.
В сутках 20
24 hours per day. When does he manage to do all of this?
И я использую методы, которые сегодня
I use methods that are now used for a special kind of training that allows a person to be in a certain state.
находиться в неком состоянии, которое 40 минут пребывания в этом состоянии, они предельны.
40 minutes in this state equals almost 4 hours of natural sleep.
Это
This
позволяет
allows me, when there's a lot of high pressure and demand, to be able to sleep for only a few hours per night for many days in a row and still feel great.
Изучающим физиологию и морфологию
The studies of brain physiology and mythology are well known. The brain does not sleep. When our center is asleep, our silly body, although without the body, the brain would be even more foolish than its boss.
хозяин. И ему очень легко
It is very easy to implement any agreement with you. So, at your disposal is a gigantic computer with unbelievable opportunities. We must learn to use and cooperate with it.
Надо учиться пользоваться и сотрудничать с ним. Самое главное, самое острое
The most critical problem today is how to safely store hydrogen on board a vehicle. And on that subject, scientists are working night and day all over the world.
В этом баллоне
This cylinder contains nanocarbon structures which are covered with palinodes by means of my gas phase technology. The Japanese know how to keep 1.8% of hydrogen. American scientists have created 2.8%. This here substance keeps 4.6% of hydrogen. 6 is the amount required. I am close.
Я уже рядом.
We create pressure and the hydrogen completely passes through. How can there be such a molecule? Here is an atom, and here also is an atom. If we draw a molecule of hydrogen, and an atom here is not a little, and here the second atom and the molecule are here. I'm pouring 2 volumes of liquid hydrogen into one.
Стук с этим, какая связь? Стук?
Никакой.
我々が興味深く考えているようなことが
Мы счастливы, что приехали в Россию,
We are happy to
так
come
как
to
вы нам
Russia,
показали
since you
наивысшие
have shown us
мировые
the world's
научные
greatest
достижения.
scientific achievements. Thank you so much.
Спасибо. Почему я делаю по-японски?
От драгоценных
From precious metals, a direct way to precious stones. And again, Victor Petrik is not interested in the stones as a cash equivalent. He makes miniature sculptures of them. On the precious stones, work was not created because it was considered to be technically unfeasible before Victor Petrik.
до Петрика.
Когда я учился на факультете психологии, совсем рядом.
When I was a student at the Department of Psychology, very close, within 10 minutes from me, an outstanding sculptor, Yuri Kirillovich Rednik, lived and worked. He was a prominent sculptor miniaturist. In his life, his miniatures were exhibited for 2 years in the Tretyakov Gallery. It seemed to me, I am a psychologist, who can make such miniatures that convey the inner life of man. How did the sculptor know such intricacies as we know? He taught me, and everyone laughed, because my items were insignificant. Maybe this is the correct word. They are, you know, like a coin, as a miniature, flat, meaningless.
Они как миниатюра, плоская, бессмысленная, а он говорил загадочную.
He spoke mysterious things to me. When you see the back of his head in his work, and today I went beyond my teacher in his work. I have done the same thing in my work, and the back of the head was visible, and I did it in stone.
Все то же самое. И в моих работах виден затылок. И я сделал это в камне. Это технологически настолько
This technology is so complicated that it is very hard to describe, explain. But I have a little show. The first thing I do, I sculpt it in wax. This is one of the best works, this Petrik Diodor. And then, this work is in stone.
А потом уже эта работа окажется в камне.
Метод его отличается.
The method differs from the highest of his recent achievements in the field of processing solids, such as ultrasound and laser technology, which are not able to convey more accurately the details of the image. Lawler has been negotiating with Victor Petrik about the possibility of his works on precious stones in his exposition. Now, attention! Victor Petrik does not simply make portraits on gems, many of the stones he himself cultivates. Traditionally, rubies are grown in the non-container method, the vernalea method. So here is this thing growing in the air. It doesn't come into contact with anything. This is the traditional vernalea method ruby. There is only one type, a pencil, which incidentally bursts in half. There is always a crack. To grow a large ruby is the highest technological challenge. This one was cultivated in this machine. This mystery, which is carried out in the ground at the highest vacuum, in high temperatures, and a stone is cultivated. This little traditional boat is for the traditional Bagdasarov method. Here, priming powder of a real stone is put in, and then after it melts, and the corresponding decomposition of the stone crystallizes under the given structure to it. So, this ruby here reminds us completely of the body of a boat. It is grown in the molybdenum form, and yet it is an ideal structure, a perfectly clean stone. This is a remarkable achievement. The founder of crystallography in our country is the great expert Dr. Musatov. When I said that I have grown this stone in molybdenum boats, he said that I will come to you to work as a laboratory assistant. I will respect him forever, so I didn't take it to the laboratory assistant, but it underscores the difficulty of the task. Work has already been done from this ruby. When I solve an issue about technology, I have a feeling that I am swimming in a state of happiness. Literally bathing. This is the highest joy. The creative solution is the highest joy. It is beautiful. But in a few days, everything could be different. Because I return to Earth again. Because again, it is necessary to work.